3 years ago, River Circle in Peterborough purchased a full 5-axis machine from XYZ Machine Tools called the Challenger. Well, that was 3 years ago, but guess what? They've gone and purchased another one. So let's go and find out why. Jonathan, congratulations on your second purchase. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
So before we begin, what is it that you specialise in here at River Circle?
Well, River Circle has two main thrusts to its business. One is special purpose test and assembly machines, principally for the automotive industry, using robotics, conveyors, press fit systems. And the other really important part of our business is multi-cavity rubber and plastic and hard foam mould tooling. So it's essentially the mould tooling side that we use the 5 axes for, but not exclusively.
So a few years ago, we were here interviewing you on your first purchase, and now you've got a second purchase, and meaning you're very happy with the first machine, really, aren't you, to go for another?
That's very true. If the eagle-eyed that had watched the first video had said that we'd always admired 5-axis machines at shows from afar, never really thinking that they were going to be for us. We were introduced to this one by XYZ. You know, it was expensive, but it wasn't as expensive as some of the others, and we were persuaded, and we went for it.
And how's that changed your business then?
Well, it certainly enabled us. It's taught us just how versatile a 5-axis machine can be. You don't have to have full 5-axis work on it all of the time. 3-axis work it reduces the setups considerably. So don't think it's just all about full 3D forms in really complex things. They're very, very versatile machines for nearly everything that we do. If it'll fit on the table, generally we'll machine it.
That's basically what you're saying. So anything really in your machine shop you can put through either of these machines as long as it can fit on the table.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's as strong, the construction of it, the gantry construction. It's as strong as any of the other sort of dedicated 3-axis machines we have. With its high-speed spindle, etc., etc.
Going on to the high-speed spindle, actually, what you're going to say is, as you're a tool maker, of course, you're hitting materials hard, aren't you? And you've got a real variety of materials that you're cutting.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we can go from relatively soft aluminium prototype tools to pre-hardened tool steels. And that's where the high-speed spindle really comes into its own when we're doing fine detail or engraving. And we can use cutters down to 0.2 millimeters, which are absolutely tiny.
Yeah.
And have to have that high-speed spindle to be able to make those work for engraving. But when we're doing surfacing, to get that surface finish that's not quite a polished finish, but we only have to do a little bit of polishing to it, is really essential, and just cuts the time in finishing a tool down, so it makes us more competitive.
Now, when I was down at Southern Manufacturing last year, I interviewed the guys at XYZ, and these machines, he often said, well, we've got the through spindle cooling as standard, we've got this as standard. So really, we're talking about quite a higher end 5-axis machine, but at a cost-effective price point. So how does that work for yourselves?
No, I mean, that's really important. If you're going to buy a machine, you like to know what you're going to spend. You can have a headline figure of X £100,000, and then by the time you add all the nice bits on that you actually need, it's gone up quite a lot. This machine was a package. Everything essentially came with it. We are a Heidenheim-based shop, so it was very important that Heidenheim control was available, which really influenced our first decision.
Okay, and the service and support, XYZ are renowned for having a very high quality standard of service support for the job shops and tool rooms around the country. But looking at a machine of this quality and with such a high specification on it, how have they delivered?
I mean, that is always a concern when you buy a new machine, particularly as an earlier adopter. You think, oh, are we going to be, getting teething problems? But it's the way that XYZ have responded to any early issues that we had. They have a very dedicated service team for these type of machines. We almost know the engineer who's going to come. and he doesn't have to get out the manual. He knows the machine. So that backup and service and response has been excellent. And I think I'd also point out the integrity in which they've serviced them. Even beyond warranty periods, if it's down to them, it's down to them. If it's down to us, it's down to us. But there is a real honesty and integrity in the way that they've dealt with us, which was very important, in making the second machine decision.
So what was the reason to go from 1 to 2 machines, and why did you go for the same machine?
Well, I think if you'd asked me 3 years ago, would we have a second one, within a year of the first one, I almost certainly would have said no. I thought, wow, this is a real showpiece, and we're not going to be able to afford another one. So when we came to replace a machine that was end of life, we looked around again at 3-axis. But when we sat down and looked what we were not going to have by not having another 5-axis, it really made the decision for us. So we spent the additional money to get that additional capability, and I'm pleased we did.
Now, a cheeky question.
Yeah.
Have you pushed this machine to its limits?
Oh, I think it's fair to say that we've had jobs that are as big as the table and maybe slightly beyond. But that you're going to do that with a machine, but it stood up to it. It's been capable of doing it. It's enabled us to do something we perhaps thought we weren't going to be able to do in the beginning. So yes, and using the full high-speed spindle for extended periods, is a real bonus.
And one last question. You've gone from a machine that you've got here for 3 years, now you've had this one almost a year now, I believe. Has it kept its accuracy across that whole period of time?
Yes, it has. Yes, we haven't seen any deterioration at all, which again is one of the reasons that we were very confident in being able to buy the second one.
So overall, would you recommend the XYZ UMC 5-axis machine, and why?
Oh, we certainly would. It's at an accessible price point for a company of our size, and it has customers like to see something like this. Having a 5-axis job flashing around, suddenly you go up in it sets you a little bit apart from competition. You go up in their estimation. Oh, I didn't realise you had one of these. Oh, actually, you've got 2 of these.
So are you telling me you've won more work off it?
We certainly have. Yes. Yeah. We've been able to do tools that we wouldn't have. We could have done it, but it would have been so many multiple setups that it would have been uneconomical, or we would have had to use other processes to do some of the fine detailing. So yes, we've certainly had more than one order that we couldn't possibly have done without it.
So in a word, would you purchase more?
Given the work, given extra work, without a doubt.